In the last 4 years, Washington, D.C. has lost a staggering 89,000 residents. That's like emptying out Capital One Arena 4 times over and over again. But here's the fascinating thing. While D.C.'s population has plummeted 6.3% since 2020, Northern Virginia's has actually skyrocketed, adding 112,000 new residents to Fairfax County alone. That's like taking 72% of the people who have left Washington, D.C. And get this, for the first time in history, Northern Virginia's economy has officially surpassed Washington, D.C., with places like Tysons, Reston, Haymarket, Ashburn transforming from quiet little towns to booming urban centers. Today, we're diving deep into exactly why this massive shift is happening and why so many people are leaving Washington, D.C. for Northern Virginia and how that's going to affect the DMV region. So let's get into the video. All right, so let's talk about D.C.'s transformation. It isn't just about numbers. It's a fundamental shift in how people live and work. Listen to some of these stats. 89,000 people have left D.C. between 2020 and 2024. Largest population drop there since 1970. Fairfax County alone added 112,000 new residents in that exact same time frame. Now, in some of the data that I took, it has really become a perfect storm for Washington, D.C. Listen to some of this of the cost of living and taxes alone. Let's talk about some of these property tax comparisons. In D.C., the property tax rate is about 2.65%. In Arlington, it is 1.96%. And in Fairfax County, it is 1.83%. Let's talk about the real dollar impact, right? So a $750,000 home in Washington, D.C. is going to be about $19,875 in annual property tax rate. But if you had that same house in Northern Virginia, you're looking at about $14,700 a year, saving you about 26%. Also, let's talk about income taxes, right? DC, the top bracket, pays 8.95% in taxes. In Virginia, there's a 5.75% cap. That's an $18,400 annual saving for someone in a household that is making $250,000 a year. That is absolutely insane. We got to talk a little bit about my favorite subject, housing values, right? You guys know I'm the real estate expert here in Northern Virginia and Washington, D.C. But let's talk a little bit of price per square foot. In D.C., you're looking at about $612 square foot on average. In Alexandria, it's about $387 square foot. In Fairfax, it's about $329 a square foot. So let's talk about real examples. $750,000 gets you about 1,225 square feet in Washington, D.C. $750,000 in Arlington will get you about 1,950 square feet. That's like 59% more space. In Ashburn, if you were to buy a new condo, $450,000 would get you around a $2,800 square feet. So you can see the huge difference in price per square foot between Northern Virginia and DC. Now, I gotta talk about schools and education. Obviously, everyone always asks me about that, but let's talk a little bit this, right? Like Fairfax County has a 94% graduation rate, where DC's is around 73%. And you have all kinds of brand new schools over here in Northern Virginia. You also have Thomas Jefferson High School, which is the #1 nationally ranked STEM school. And then of course, Arlington spends about $15,800 per student, where DC's is around $14,200. And then Nova, there's 18 students for every 1 teacher. In DC, it's about 24 students for every 1 teacher. Now, with Dodge and Trump and Elon Musk coming out with a chainsaw, we don't know what's going to happen with work from home, right? But we're only seeing about 3 to 5% of the federal workforce lives in Fairfax and Loudoun County. Now, of course, a lot of those people have gone back into the office, but the at-home from work revolution has officially started, with about 40% of the workers here in Northern Virginia making a hybrid schedule, where they maybe go into a couple days a week or they work from home a couple days a week. And the average person that does a hybrid schedule saves about 2.5 hours a day of sitting in traffic. So that is just absolutely insane. How does that impact housing decisions, right? Well, reduced importance to proximity of DC, growing demand for home office space, increased flexibility in locations, and then of course the outer suburbs are becoming more attractive to buyers. We're seeing people move out as far as Winchester, Culpeper, Front Royal, Luray, Stafford, Spotsylvania. All these areas have seen huge population growth. Now, Northern Virginia isn't just the sleepy, bedroom communities that it once was of Washington, D.C. A lot is changing, and it's happening very fast. There's billions of dollars being poured into some key areas. Let's talk about this. So obviously you have Arlington with all kinds of huge jobs and companies there. In the last few years, we've had the Amazon HQ2, Raytheon, Boeing, Nestle, National Airports growth. But listen to this, Amazon HQ2, 22,000 new tech jobs, 2.5 billion national landing development, and 25,000 new jobs are expected by 2030. If you go over to Tysons Corner by the beautiful Capital One building, building, all those other areas, there's 12 million square feet of mixed use space. And you have the second largest mall, Tyson's Corner, in the United States with over 300 stores. And then you also have Silver Line Metro, which is only about a 35-minute ride right into Washington, D.C. if you wanted to take the metro and not hit any traffic. One of my favorite areas that everyone seems to be moving to or ask me about is going to be Reston and Herndon. There is so much growth going on over there. Reston's actually had a 55% increase of population since 2020. A new $300 million Reston Town Center expansion is coming. And then there's a huge tech corridor expansion. Just the other day I was over there, you could see the Bentley office, the Google office, there was a Founding Farmers restaurant, and then the JW Marriott Hotel is almost finished, or it may be finished, with all the brand new condos over there. That place is absolutely phenomenal. You also have Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin. That place is filled with tons of tech jobs. There's a metro going right through there. You have the Dallas Toll Road. You are super close to Dallas, super close to National Airport as well. All kinds of businesses have been moving into Reston and Herndon, and they're not just federal government jobs. Now, one of the places that you know, if you've driven around Northern Virginia, that is hugely blown up with data centers is going to be Loudoun in western Prince William County. 70% of the world's internet is held in Loudoun and Prince William County. Isn't that like insane? But like some of my family members, right? My cousin works at TikTok's data center. My other cousin works at Meta's data center. Some of those people are starting out of high school at $80,000 a year over at these data centers. It is absolutely phenomenal. Over in Gainesville, you have the world's largest data center being built over there as well. And those are the fastest growing areas in all of Northern Virginia, which makes sense with all these high paying tech jobs. Now I gotta talk about the amenities here of Northern Virginia right now. Obviously Washington D.C. has so many things to do. It's absolutely beautiful, from the Kennedy Center to the National Mall, Smithsonian museums and all that. But we also have the National Air and Space Museum over at Washington Dulles Airport. You can go over there and see one of the space shuttles to all kinds of different airplanes. A lot of the bigger airplanes that they couldn't fit over in DC are over there. They also have a 3D IMAX. I went over there and saw one of the Batmans. It was absolutely phenomenal. You have 45 miles of paved trails throughout 8 communities here in Northern Virginia. We have Wolf Trap as well, and that's the only national park for performing arts. And one of my favorite venues is going to be Jiffy Lube Live here in Prince William County. It's been here for about 30 years. There are some amazing concerts that go through there. It is really popular with the country music scene, as well as some of these older rockers will come through there, like Bob Dylan, the Grateful Dead. You see every music act. I think they do like 30 or 40 shows every season. We also have 14 Michelin-starred restaurants. There is all kinds of things to do here in Northern Virginia. One of my favorite places to go is to Silos, located over in Manassas. But get this, Northern Virginia has been called the next Napa Valley by Wall Street Journal. We have all kinds of wineries, breweries pretty much popping up everywhere. And also you have amazing places like the Ray, Front Royal, Linden, Virginia, with all kinds of hiking that you can go to. Yeah, those aren't in Northern Virginia, but they're about a 30-minute drive. So plenty to do here in Northern Virginia. Now, we gotta talk about some of the counterpoints, right? Like, let's talk about some of the urban trade-offs. Access to Smithsonian, like I said, the Air and Space Museum, about 30 million visitors a year over there. Cultural venues have really started to expand over here in Northern Virginia. They polled, and 63% of the people that left Washington, D.C. for Northern Virginia said that they actually went to the same amount of arts that they did here in Northern Virginia than they were living in Washington, D.C. We also have Silver Line expansions going on, and the metro is expected to go up about 38% in ridership here on the Silver Line in Northern Virginia. We also have the BRE trains to go right into DC, into Union Station. You've got high-speed internet, plenty of stations over there. If the metro doesn't come to your area, there's plenty of the people that catch it in Bristow, Manassas, Fredericksburg, the Woodbridge area. It's going to be going over in Potomac Shores, that beautiful brand new neighborhood. So that really reduces a lot of the car, reliability that people have to have out here in Northern Virginia. I was just over by one of the commuter lots that they just built over here in Gainesville. It was completely packed. So you do have tons of transportation options if you still have to go to the Pentagon or right into Washington, D.C. Now, we got to talk about the future outlook of Northern Virginia, right? Like that's a lot of big question going on with the new administration. How do things look here in Northern Virginia? Well, we actually have a $6.3 billion Southern Gateway expansion. Virginia Tech's $1 billion innovation campus is almost over, and they're expecting 55,000 new jobs in Northern Virginia by 2030. Population projections, Northern Virginia is expected to surpass 3 million residents by 2027. The DC suburbs, that's going to be taking like 72% of the whole suburbs of Washington, D.C. And we're also going to see these continued tech expansions. A lot of these data centers and tech companies that are coming in, they're not really coming until about 5 to 10 years down the road. Like one of the things that's coming here to Gainesville is that amazing Microsoft AI data center that they paid like $4 $4 million an acre for. So you have all kinds of tech jobs coming here in Northern Virginia. So what does all this mean? Let's do a quick little recap, right? So tax savings, more space, better schools, and a growing job market. One of the things that people always ask me, right? They say, hey, Chris, especially from my YouTube channel that call me, and we get people like you every day that call that want to buy or sell a home here. Last year, we helped 125 people buy a new home in Northern Virginia, and most of the people came from this YouTube channel. So if you wanted to stay like kind of more of that urban feel, you don't really need a car, I would definitely check out Arlington and Alexandria. Keep in mind, they're going to be very expensive. You will have metro access, but you are talking prices of upwards of $1 million to $1.5 million for townhomes, condos. Arlington definitely has it all, from nightlife to great schools, walkability, and Alexandria is probably one of the most beautiful downtown or old town Alexandria and all throughout the country. You're right there on the Potomac River, and you also have super close access to National Airport. Prince William County and Loudoun, beautiful areas. That's going to be more of bigger homes. Yeah, you are going to have a commute, but the highways here have really gotten fixed. They've really expanded them. Prince William, you're looking at an average sales price of around $600,000. Some of my favorite areas are going to be Potomac Shores over in Dumfries, Virginia, or Gainesville and Haymarket. Dominion Valley, the former Walt Disney site, is another great neighborhood over here in western Prince William County. And I absolutely love the charming Old Town Manassas. Loudoun County, one of the most beautiful counties in all of the state of Virginia. You have western Loudoun with Percyville, areas like that. Aldie, Ashburn, some of my favorite areas, and the beautiful Middleburg, Virginia with all the farms. Now, Ashburn and Aldie and Leesburg can get really expensive, but you can get a huge home over there. One of my favorite neighborhoods is going to be Bramilton with tons of walking, but keep in mind, you are also talking average sales prices of $800,000 to $1 million. And there's only about 3 to 4 weeks of inventory on the market here in Loudoun and Prince William. Not many houses for sale because there's so much tech coming here. They bought up all the land. Now, Fairfax County, the most populous county in the state of Virginia, average sales price are about $800,000, $900,000. Reston and Herndon, if you're going to be working in DC, have been some of my clients' favorite places. I've heard no complaints from them. Yeah, it can be a commute for sure, but a lot of FBI, Pentagon people live over in Reston and Herndon. I also like Fairfax City as well. You have plenty of options. Springfield and Falls Church are other great areas as well. Some of the homes can get older, but keep in mind, most of these houses here in Northern Virginia have been renovated throughout the years because it's such a transient area. Now, if you really wanted to save some money and get further out, I would check out Winchester, Front Royal, Stafford, Virginia, even Culpeper, Virginia, but keep in mind, those can be really long commutes. And me and my team, we go out to all of those towns, and a lot of the schools here in Northern Virginia are brand new, and we obviously have huge growing job markets out here in the area. So if you are thinking about buying or selling a home here in Northern Virginia, definitely email me info@colganteam.com, info@colganteam.com. You can also text me at any time. I'd love to be your real estate agent of choice. Usually what we do is we do a little consultation with you on Zoom, or we have a phone call. We discuss what your options are, what you're looking to do, and we'll tell you what is a great area to choose. Also follow me on Instagram at Chris Colgan Team. We have 5 to 10 million people a month watch that Instagram, where I talk about all the breaking news of Northern Virginia, talk about real estate, pretty much anything and everything. So guys, definitely comment where you are watching from, and you better subscribe to my channel.